Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Art at Home. We are winding down, nearing the end of the school year, and we are going to be working on another animation tool for those of you that want to get into animating. So this one's going to be a lot easier than yesterday's project, which was the zoetrope, and a little bit harder than the, well, I wouldn't say harder, but I would say there's going to be more drawing involved than the thaumatrope from 2 days ago. So today's project, what we're going to need is index cards. You can buy the ones that are unruled or the ones that have the lines going across that are ruled, but I prefer the unruled ones because then I can draw on both sides of the paper. The ruled ones, actually, I believe the ruled ones only have the lines on one side and the back is blank. So just to be safe, I just buy the unruled ones, because there's no lines at all on top of these things, and you can draw a whole bunch of small little pictures on these, so that's cool. So we're gonna need index cards or any kind of card stock. If you don't have index cards, now the reason why I say use index cards is because these are pre-cut. So these are measuring 3 inches by 5.5. 3 inches by 5 inches. So they're 3 inches tall and they're 5 inches wide. All right. So the reason why I want you guys to use these is because it's easier for us to do our project. All right. So index cards, unruled if possible. Glue of some sort. I use rubber cement. You guys can use Elmer's glue or the wood glue if you want to. But the reason why I use rubber cement is because it's more pliable. It's quite like rubbery, to be honest. When you use rubber cement, I suggest asking your parents to help you. The chemicals that are in here aren't good for you. When you inhale them, it's not so good. So if you could ask your parents to do it, or for you older students who can or who have the permission by your parents to use rubber cement, make sure you use it in a well-ventilated area and with a fan blowing across your face so that the air is constantly clean that you're breathing, okay? Because this stuff is not good for you to breathe in. Okay, so index cards, some kind of adhesive, whether it be glue or rubber cement. We're gonna need an eraser, a pencil, a pen. I've got my Micron, scissors, and a ruler. I still haven't found my ruler, so I'm still continuing with my daughter's ruler from her school. So thank you to her. But yeah, so these are the items we are going to need today. Oh, we're also going to need one more item. Where did I put it? Yes, we'll need a clip. One of these big pinchy clips. Okay? One that can kind of fold down like that. Alright, so these are the items we'll need today for today's project. Okay, so let's start with the ruler, pencil, scissors, clip, rubber cement, and index cards first. Okay, so these are the first things we're going to be using. I would suggest grabbing about 12 sheets. Yeah, 12 sheets of paper. And the reason why I say grab 12 is because when you draw 12 pictures and you sequentially move them from 1 to 12, it's going to give us about 1 second of animation. Okay, so what we're going to do with these 12 pieces of paper, we don't want to just make 1 second of animation. We want to do a couple of seconds. So I have 12 pieces of paper here, and what I'm going to do is just take my ruler and I'm going to measure out halfway. So since it's 3 inches, halfway point is 1.5. So we're going to put a mark on the 1/2. Measure the other side from the 0 to the 3 and mark at the 1/2 mark. And I'm just going to go and put a line connecting those two, just like that. Okay, so now I have halved my index card, just one of them. Cut it in half. Now when I cut, I'm just going to layer 3 together. If I put all 12 pieces of paper here and I start cutting, not only is it going to be very difficult to cut through the paper, but the papers are also going to start sliding as you're cutting, because as you crease the paper with the scissors, they're going to start slipping, and when you're done cutting it, you're going to have lines that are not too straight. And what I've found is doing 3 papers at once is actually a pretty good amount. It won't slide quite as much as long as you're going slowly and carefully. And it's manageable where it's not like it doesn't hurt your fingers to use the scissors going through it, because index paper is actually a little bit thicker than standard what do you call it, Xerox and typewriter paper. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and do that to all 12 of your papers, and by the end of it you should have 24 individual strips just like this. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. I'm going to finish cutting up my papers and we'll continue from there. Okay, so once you guys have all of your papers cut down into strips, which is basically just cutting your index cards in half horizontally, we're going to have a nice stack of strips that should equal up to about 24 individual panels or strips. Okay, so what we're going to do now that we have all of our papers here stacked up, is using our rubber cement as well as our little clip here. I'm going to prepare my clip so that it's easy for me to get the clamp. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, ask a parent if they can help you with this. If you are given permission by your parent to use rubber cement, then I suggest well ventilated area with a fan blowing so that you do not inhale the chemical smell. Okay, that's for your safety. Alright, so what you're going to do is even up your cards or your strips so that they're lined up. You want to try and get as perfect as possible. And you see on top of this side here, we're going to pinch with our finger, take the rubber cement, and we're going to rub a healthy dose of rubber cement. We're going to, well, tap it first over all of the strips on one side. Okay, and what we're trying to do, or what the idea is we're trying to create a booklet. And we want to make sure that our papers don't just fly anywhere. We want to make sure they're all stuck together. Now you're probably going to be a little bit upset with me, but another thing you can do if you don't want to create your own little booklet. Oh wait, let's finish this up before I start talking about that. Alright, so now with the bull clip here, or this little paper clip, you're just going to open it up and you're going to place it right on top here to keep all of the papers together. Okay, just like that. And it should be wide enough where the clip is not touching any of the rubber cement or the glue. So that works just like that. Okay, we can fan these little things out like that. Just gotta be careful and just have them hugging the side of the work like that, and then we can stand it. You can stand it and let it dry. Okay, let it dry in an area that has a window or something so that that rubber cement smell doesn't bother you. And then put this away. Make sure that this is not around anyone. What is this? Children. Keep out of the reach of children. So basically all of you. Oh yeah, so don't touch this stuff. Please ask your parents to help you. If not, you have to use Elmer's glue or the tacky glue that I like to use in so many of those videos that we've done already. So ask your parents to help you. Anyway, like I was saying, what you can do instead of creating your own booklet, if you really wanted to, is you can just go ahead and pick up a post-it note stack. The post-it notes are already adhered together. and you can actually pull off pages and stick them on things, so that'll work too. But they do sell post-it notes that come in strips, 2 long strips, but they're much smaller than these from the index cards. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and wait for this bad boy to dry, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so once your stack of papers has dried, if you feel it, it should be dry. There shouldn't be anything coming off on your fingers. I would give it a few hours to at least get dry enough, or even wait overnight. That'll guarantee you that the your papers will be nice and stuck together. You're gonna have yourself a little booklet here, a little stack of papers that are all stuck together, so they can just freely move around. You don't have to worry about keeping it closed. If you don't have any type of glue or adhesive, you could always just use the clip, and the clip can be your source of keeping your book together. That's fine too. So if you don't have any glue, or if you don't have any rubber cement, or at least your mom them can glue it for you, then you can always just use a clip and just keep the clip on top of your papers, your stack of papers, so that it can just look like a regular little book. Okay, and what we have here is we have a Kineoscope, or what most people know this to be as a flip book. Alright, and a flip book is going to help us by us drawing individual pictures here on top of the pages, and we cycle with our fingers, we cycle through the pictures by flipping the pages to see the animation unfold as you flip through the book. So we have about 24 pieces of paper here, which should equate up to 2 seconds of animation. And when we start our animation, we want to make sure that we don't go past a certain point. So you have to imagine that you can only draw within maybe 2 inches of the end of the book here. Okay, you can't really draw all the way to the back of the book, because you will be pinching your flip book here at the end, and as you're flipping through it, you can't really see all the way inside here towards the spine. So most of the pictures that you want to draw should stay within this 2-inch margin, so that when you do flip it, you can actually see all the pictures as you're flipping. Okay, so to do the animation, you want to think of an idea of what you want to do, and for me, the easiest thing would probably be a ball, so like a bouncing ball. Let's zoom in so that you guys can actually see how this is going to be drawn out. Okay, so like I was saying, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to have a imaginary border here, so that when we flip it, we're only looking within about 2 inches in from the edge of the picture. And what I want to do is I'm going to start with the ball, and I'm going to have a ball bouncing in towards the end of my book like this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is towards the top of my frame. So imagine if this was a camera and we're watching a television screen. We're going to imagine that in pops this ball, and I'm just going to draw this oval. Now I know balls are round, but when they're moving, they have this kind of like blur, and you can't really draw a blur effect, but you can definitely create one by drawing elongated shapes. So we're going to pretend that this ball is stretching out because it is moving forward, and that's basically it for my first drawing. I told you to keep it easy. Okay, so I switch my page to the second one, and trying to remember where I had my first dot, I'm going to turn the page, keeping my pencil towards where the first drawing was. Oh, and I skipped the page. So keeping my pencil where the first one was, I am going to continue drawing my shape, and it is slowly falling downward. So you can see here, if I were to flip this, it would look like the ball is going towards the ground. And that's the point. That's what I want to do. So my next picture, which is approximately here, I'm just going to go ahead and draw it moving towards the ground. See that? First picture's up here, second picture's moving down, third picture's moving even further down. Flick to my next page. So here, and I want to have it. Go back and check. So now I have it falling. Now about midway between the top and the bottom of my paper, so that's pretty easy to remember. So I just have to remember where the last picture was. It was about here, halfway through. And then I'm going to draw another oval. So as you can see, it doesn't really look like a ball yet. Just looks like a bunch of ovals that I'm drawing, like flying saucers. But basically here's the there's the sequence. Okay, so we're gonna move this one out of the way, and this ball is going to be about hitting the ground. Okay, so I'm gonna make the ground maybe about a 1/4 inch from the bottom of the paper. So there's my next ball, and then looking at my previous picture and looking at where my ball should be going, I'm going to have it landing on the ground. So I'm not going to make it as ovular. This is going to start getting, well, as soon as the ball hits the ground, it's going to start squatting out widthwise rather than lengthwise. So I have the ball impacting the ground. I'm just going to draw a little mark on the next page to tell me where the ball should be. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw more of a circle. And then I'm going to start drawing something more oval as it gets wider. Because what happens is when the ball hits or impacts the ground, it goes from a circle and then it gets squished and then it returns back to its circular shape. Okay, so here we go. Hello, thank you. Now the ball is starting to expand, which I like. And then we're going to go ahead and draw the ball getting really squished. And then we are going to make it turn into a circle once more. So I'm drawing a circle. But then I'm going to make it bounce one last time and go a little bit in the front of itself. So from here I'm going to draw it going ovular again. And then I'm going to draw it a little bit higher and a little bit less ovular. So if I look at the placement, okay, so that's good. Then I'm going to go ahead and put a circle, because this is the top of the bounce. So the ball came in, hit the ground, got squat, came up in the air, turned into a circle, and now when it lands again, it's going to turn back into an oval. So from here, I'm going to draw an oval falling back to the ground to give the illusion of motion. And then finally, the ball is going to land on the ground again. And it's going to rest like that. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at what we have so far. Okay, so the ball, you can definitely tell there's motion in the ball itself just by flipping these few pages. Now, if I wanted to, if this was it, if this was all I wanted to draw was just the ball bouncing and then rolling out at the last frame, rolling out of the frame, I could do that. I could finish it up with just those last few pictures I can draw. I have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, was it 8? So 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, sheesh. So I've actually drawn quite a few pictures already. There, I just skipped some pages. Well, anyway, if I wanted to finish it at that, I would just have the ball just continually roll out of the frame and I'd be done. And then what I would do after that is take my pen and I would solidify the drawing by inking it in. Later on, when you guys get more advanced, you can start drawing and measuring using your ruler. You guys can start adding more background things like the ground. You guys can put people walking, but that is all. You're gonna have to make sure that you measure it out. And if you're gonna make a ground, you want to make sure that if you do put a floor, like you do draw in a floor, you want to make sure that you measure it every single frame or every single one of these strips. You want to measure it and you want to put your line horizontally at the same point every time. Because if you don't do that, and you do the flip book, what's going to happen is if it's uneven, your floor is going to look like it's doing this. You see the ruler, the way it's moving around? So as you're flipping it, the ground is not going to be even and it's going to keep going up and down like that. And you don't want that jittery stutteriness to your floor moving up and down on your paper because you haven't measured it. So if you measure it and put it about here and you keep putting the line consistently there, it's going to look stable. It isn't going to move, and it'll actually turn out being a good animation. Okay, so that's basically how to do a kineoscope. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up inking this in. I may add a few more details and I may change this ball into something different. I might make it something different. So yeah, I'll be right back after finishing my kineoscope, and then you guys can see my finished product. Okay, so hang in there. Alright, so I'm done with my kineoscope. Let me zoom out real quick. Okay. I entitled mine Boom. I changed my ball, my bouncing ball, into into a grenade. So now I'm gonna have this grenade actually I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna have this grenade actually bouncing on the ground and exploding at the end. So what I did was I gave it a title, wrote Boom, and then I added details to the ball that I drew. I drew it into a grenade, and then I drew a 1/4 inch mark on each one of these pages, and I drew a line going across the 1/4 inch mark, and I added a shadow. So this is going to ground it in some kind of reality so that you know that there's some kind of gravity that's going on inside the video. So basically I have the ball like I drew, showing you guys just a little while ago, the ball bouncing, and when it lands I'm gonna have it just like popping. So yeah, if you guys want to take it a step further, I have my pens out over here. You can go ahead and color each one of these stills, each one of these frames in, so that it'll give it more something a little bit more extra, yeah, a little bit more extra detail, makes it more vibrant, makes it more interesting to look at. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep this clip here, and I'm gonna use it to help me flick because it's easier than me holding it there and blocking everything. All right, so let's see how this looks. Try that again. That was a little choppy. So the faster you flick it, the more fluid it looks. And that's how you get your little flip book going. This is only supposed to be about 2 seconds of animation because there's 24 frames. And once you get used to flicking these pages, It'll get more and more smooth. Unfortunately, mine looks like it's getting worse. But yeah. So like I said, you can go ahead and add more detail, or you can color, or whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. It's your flip book, your Kineoscope. So totally up to you what you want to do. Just remember that you're going to need a stack of papers. We have 24 in the one that I showed you today. It needs to be sequential on how the story unfolds. You can have, like I said, a ball bouncing. I changed mine into a grenade. If you want, you can show a plant growing out of a flower pot. That would be kind of cool. So remember, every single stage that you draw, you're going to have to remember to draw the same character or the same thing, object, in the picture as it cycles. So if you're going to do a potted plant or a flower growing out of the ground, you have to make sure that the flower or whatever you're drawing is in the same place every time. You're just slightly making it bigger and bigger, or you're slightly moving it slightly more and more to the left or right or up and down. Okay, so just be careful how you draw each picture. It has to have some kind of movement to it. You can't just keep it in one place. It has to expand, it has to move and grow. Okay, so this is our third animating tool. We did the thaumatrope, we did the zoetrope, the zoetrope, and now we're doing the Kineoscope. Tomorrow will be our last animation class. It'll be the last style of animation that I will be teaching you. It requires a bit of technology, but I'm sure most of you guys have it already or lying around your house, so not a big deal. So if that's cool with you, that's the end of today's class. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow.